Okay, so there is a political drama unfolding in France right now that is moving so fast it feels less like politics and more like a season finale of a thriller. Seriously, we are talking about a government that literally collapsed in less than a day, and it's sending these huge shockwaves through the country and, you guessed it, its economy. So how on earth did this happen? Let's get into it.
It all comes down to this one number, 14. 14 hours. Just to put that into perspective for you, that's about the time it takes to fly from Paris to Singapore. It's also, it turns out, the entire lifespan of the new French government.
That's right. The brand new government, just appointed, lasted a mere 14 hours. That makes it the shortest-lived administration in France in over 100 years. I mean, the real question here is, how does a government completely fall apart in the time it takes to binge-watch a season of your favorite show?
To really get this, we have to look at the just chaotic sequence of events that all happened on a single Monday. It was a day of resignations, of reversals, and some really high-stakes ultimatums.
You know, one reporter put it perfectly. They said it was just like a good series on TV, packed with unexpected twists. And that really captures just how dizzying the whole day was for everyone watching, both inside France and out.
So here's the play-by-play. The morning kicks off with the Republican Party just furious over a key cabinet appointment. By the afternoon, that minister says, "Okay, I'm out," and announces he's quitting. But here, and this is the real twist, it turns out Prime Minister Barnier had already handed in his own resignation, totally frustrated by the gridlock. The government was already gone. So, the day wraps up with President Macron giving his now resigned Prime Minister a 48-hour deadline to somehow, put it all back together. Wild.
All this chaos, of course, puts the pressure squarely on President Emmanuel Macron. He is absolutely backed into a corner and now has to make some kind of high-stakes move to stop the country from falling into total political paralysis.
Now, the problem for Macron is that he has very few good options. He could try to force a coalition, maybe appoint a prime minister from the socialist opposition, or, and this is the big one, threaten to dissolve parliament and call another snap election. The one thing he has ruled out, at least for now, is his own resignation, even though his opponents are calling for it.
With that 48-hour clock ticking down, everyone is waiting for what's being called the grand finale. Macron himself has promised that he will take his responsibility, which has left the entire nation and the financial markets just holding their breath for whatever his next move is.
But listen, this isn't just political theater. This kind of instability has immediate and very serious consequences for the French economy. And because France is such a huge player, it affects the rest of Europe as well.
You can see the impact right away when you look at the markets. The French stock index, the CAC 40, dropped over 1.3% in a single day as this was all going down. That's a huge flashing sign of just how nervous investors are getting.
And here's another key number for you, 86. That's 86 basis points. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but just think of it as a risk fee. It's the extra interest France has to pay to borrow money, compared to Germany, which is seen as Europe's safest bet. So the higher that number gets, the more nervous investors are about France's ability to pay its bills. It's basically a fear gauge for the economy.
And the experts are warning that this risk fee could easily jump all the way to 100 basis points if Macron is forced to call another election. That would just pour gasoline on the fire of uncertainty. So why does a French problem worry the rest of Europe? Well, because of this number. European banks are on the hook for about 500 billion euros in French government debt. So if France gets into any kind of financial trouble, that risk spreads like wildfire across the entire continent's banking system.
This political chaos has created this really bizarre budget situation. In a strange twist, the gridlock is actually sort of good for public finances in the short term. See, without a new budget, things like pensions aren't automatically increased with inflation, which, saves the government money. But the long-term danger is huge. Without a functioning government, no major reforms can happen, and analysts are warning the deficit could balloon to 6% next year.
And hey, just so we're all on the same page here, when we say structural reforms, we're talking about those big, often really difficult changes to how an economy works. They're absolutely crucial for long-term health, and right now, they're completely stalled.
So, what this all boils down to is a president with a government in limbo and markets that are completely on edge. The big question now is, can Macron, who's known for being a political gambler, pull a rabbit out of his hat and somehow salvage a majority? Or is France just spiraling towards another snap election and even deeper uncertainty?